you look at this image and you think, wow, spring is so hopeful, right? Spring is so full of new life, and it brings transformation, it brings change. Reminds us that and we feel it inside us, that it's time to do that house cleaning, to experience new growth and appreciate new life. So this new life, the new beginnings, the bright, colorful, beautiful look that spring gives us are hopeful signs that things here and life on this planet renew again and again and again. And none of us remain in the same cycle indefinitely, right? Seasons change, and so do we, which is what we were just talking about. Just like nature, we have cycles, we have rhythms to our lives and to our growth process. And this, to me, is always the perfect time of the year to introduce that spiritual house cleaning, that new growth, while it's so fresh on our mind. And we clean our spiritual house and experience growth by examining our beliefs, by letting go of those things that no longer are serving us. The most important thing that we can do is re-examine what we think we believe or what we think we know is true, because that changes. And changes can be quiet and subtle, kind of like spring, beginning way deep down underneath, stirring up towards something new. Or changes can be really major. Changes can be eye-opening and a little bit shocking sometimes to our system. However, spring is about remembering our sense of well-being, the strength that we have to develop the resilience in face of inevitable challenges and changes in life. So that way, as we're aware of those things, we can create more satisfying relationships, more healthy relationships. We can learn to be really passionate about having the ability to make changes in our lives. Sometimes we think we're stuck and we can't make changes. And I'm here to say, yes, we can, and we must. It's about starting something new, sticking to it consistently, and being encouraged to try again and again and again if at first you don't succeed. That is how we make progress. That stick-to-itiveness. Because if we hang in there, the seasons and the circumstances and the challenges, they change every time. We want to do that when we're getting that feeling of frustration, or we're resisting what is right in front of us and what's happening in our lives. Know that this too shall pass, right? We've all heard that. Acceptance and surrender of our challenges, paired with that confidence in life, will give us the courage to persist toward a brighter future. Things will get easier. One thing we can do to help ourselves evaluate what it is we might need to change or even eliminate in our life is to take inventory, to take an emotional inventory. And periodically, it's a good idea to take stock of what it is that's important to you in your life, both on an emotional level and on a psychological level and a physical level as well, actually. So think about, is there anything holding you back from being the very best you can be? Is there something stopping you from creating the way you want to create? However that looks, however that shows up for you. Or maybe there's something weighing you down that's having a negative impact on your life. These are really important things to look at and to kind of, just take that stock, take that inventory. Spiritual growth includes shedding our outdated concepts, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, getting rid of those old things that aren't serving us anymore, that may or may not even be true anymore. It's a process of inner awakening, becoming more conscious, becoming more aware of our higher self, and operating our life from that space. It's the rising of our consciousness beyond the ordinary existence and awakening to the universal truths. And as we do that, as we awaken to those truths, we are exposing our higher self. We are being more of who we truly are. Because we're going beyond the mind, we're going beyond the ego, realizing who we truly are. And isn't that our goal? Isn't that what we want to do? We hear so much about finding out who we are, being our authentic selves. And so many of us don't really understand how to actually reach that point. We don't suddenly become that new, better person because we've read a great book, or because we've heard a great speech, or because we went to the right workshop. That isn't how it works. It takes work. Becoming our authentic self is a lifelong journey. It is absolutely not a destination. And sometimes we get really confused about that. We're here and we're trying to get there. Well, guess what? You're not going to get there. This is a journey. Enjoy every day. Enjoy every moment, every problem, every circumstance, every challenge. Know that as you experience those things, you're growing through those things. Now, it takes work and focus and a genuine desire to be on this journey. I think you already know that because you're open and willing to be on that journey. It's about finding and embracing our higher self through our spiritual practices, through forgetting what we learned maybe from other people, finding our own truth of who we are and what it is we want to do and be in our lives. This spiritual path offers us a life of free of tension, free of anxiety, free of fear. That's what a spiritual life offers us because we trust. We trust life. We trust the universe. And we know that God is in charge and all is well. Our spiritual awakening helps us to learn to not let circumstances influence our inner being or our state of mind. It's about staying in balance. And as we practice our spirituality, we develop our inner power and our strength, which is essential to having that balanced life. And a balanced life requires that we take care of all of it, right? Mind, body, spirit. That's the key to happiness, the key to peace of mind. And we all want that. So, what does spiritual growth take? What is it we have to do? Step outside of your box. Step outside of your comfort zone. There is more to life than what you see. And sometimes, as scary as it might seem, that means changing our beliefs. That means changing the way that we see the world. And let's face it, we get stuck sometimes, right? In our absolute beliefs system. Which brings me to the little engine that could, as you've already seen behind me. After several large engines refused to pull that heavy train up that hill because it was too difficult and it couldn't happen, that smaller engine volunteered. And even though at the time it seemed laughable that this little guy could do that, he went on up that hill chanting what? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. We all know that story, right? That story is all about the power of belief. And here's a little fun fact. It actually came from a story called Thinking One Can, and it was written in 1906. And it was written by a bunch of positive thinking people to help encourage and promote that positive thinking to young children, which I thought was really, really beautiful. The point is, however, like that little engine, you can do anything in your life that you want to do. And the way to do that is by letting go of limiting beliefs. stepping outside of your box, out of your comfort zone. Years ago, some of us will remember, it was deemed absolutely physically impossible to run a 4-minute mile. Impossible. The world said, oh my God, if anyone did it, their insides would blow up, it would just be over. Seriously, it was really to that level. Until 1954, when Roger Bannister did it. And he lived to tell. And after that, other people broke that record, broke his record of under 4 minutes. Now it's commonplace. Now it's no big deal. The important part of that story is not only did Bannister break a record, which was awesome, a world record, he broke a limiting belief that the entire world held on to. How awesome is that? Our core belief system has been constructed and shaped throughout our life based on different events that we've experienced or things that we've been told. And we get to decide, our perception says, is it true or is it false? And we hold on to those things that we believe are probably true. If no one ever told you that the world was round, would you believe it was flat? Because that's what your eyes perceive, right? Now that might be an extreme example. However, I'll just bet you can apply it to something in your own life. A belief maybe that you've held on to so tightly only to find out that it wasn't an actual fact or that it wasn't true any longer. Or maybe there's a situation where you were, let's say, encouraged to open your mind and maybe take a different perspective on a particular situation. So as you change your belief system of what you can and cannot do, or what is true for you, or what is false, understand this. And he just told you that too. There are unlimited possibilities. You are an infinite being, able to do, be, and have whatever it is, however you want your life to show up. So, I don't think you even have to think about whether you're holding on to a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. I absolutely believe that when you're in this kind of environment, you have to be in that growth mindset because you are so open. This TED Talk, this TEDx talk is incredibly insightful. It shows those facts that science has been able to prove and the power it has, power we have over our belief system. How awesome is it to really know, to understand that we are not limited to what we believe our current capabilities are. I just think that's hugely powerful. Many people do have a fixed mindset. This is the way it is, and praise me for what I've done. I don't want to go any further outside of my box. However, people with a growth mindset do believe that they're determine their own skills. They can achieve anything through effort, through work, through deliberate practice, regardless of any predispositioned genetics or ideas or thoughts or beliefs, right? With a growth mindset, you can have it all. I can't. It's impossible. And other limiting beliefs, those don't need to be in our vocabulary at all. We want to make sure, and as he said, listen to that fixed mindset as you're speaking, because those aren't the things that we want to have going on in our head. You can do anything you want in this life. I know that is the absolute truth. Just don't listen to the doubters, especially that doubter in your own mind, because we all have it. As we move through life, we are going to be challenged. That's life. We experience change and we experience challenges. Push through. Remain open to new ideas, new thoughts, new perspective, new way of seeing the world. It's really important because that's how we're going to grow. Remember, we never completely arrive. We're always on the path. We're always forgetting, remembering, exploring, practicing, forgetting again and starting back over in that cycle. That's human nature. That's normal. When we recognize that, we can learn to accept the inevitability of lapsing back into that old thought, old way of thinking, that limited perspective. And when we do that, when we start recognizing that and understanding what's going on, we develop more patience, we develop more empathy, we develop a greater sense of humor about our human fragility, right? Because we are fragile, and we have a greater appreciation for this journey that we're on of finding our way. And that's just life. That is just life. So I want to close this morning with a quote by Shauna Niequist. When life is sweet, say thank you and celebrate. When life is bitter, say thank you and grow. Thank you so much for being here while I shared this truth as I understand it.